All right. All right, the meeting has now started, so I just want to say, sorry about the technical difficulties we had. And we're still trying to make sure we get that fixed, but we don't want to hold anybody up, so we're going to get started. My name is Cameron. I am the youth coordinator with North Carolina Families United. And today we've come together to talk about Men's Health Month. We have a panel of some amazing men that have decided to come here and have a conversation with us, and you guys, just about the ins and outs of mental health, physical health, and any other, health that pertains to men and just the things they've been through in their own life. Before we get started, though, I do just want to share a little bit of information about men's health in case you didn't know what it was, where it came from, and kind of why we honor it. So first of all, Men's Health Month is celebrated every June in the United States, Canada, and Australia, so it's not just us, to raise awareness about men's health issues. It was established in 1994, so I mean, honestly, that's not that long. That's barely even almost, what, 20 to 30 years, something like that. So um, thankfully, it was something that started to become more important, but obviously, like anything else, it probably could have happened at a sooner time, but we are thankful for it. But it was introduced by Senator Bob Dole and Representative Bill Richardson with the goal of encouraging men and boys to seek regular medical advice and early treatment for disease and injury. So this month aims to highlight preventable health problems and encourage early detection and treatment of diseases among men and boys. So basically, if you go from there, the first way this was thought about was more of a physical way, right? Um, so that's another thing. Mental health kind of came in the picture later. Um, but it started as a physical health thing for men, because men tend to live shorter lives than women on average, about 5 years less in the US, largely due to preventable causes like heart disease, cancer, accidents, and death by suicide. Men are less likely than women to visit a doctor, and we all know the jokes about that, for regular checkups, and more likely to engage in risky behaviors such as smoking, excessive alcohol use, and a poor diet. Common health concerns promoted during Men's Health Month include heart disease, prostate cancer, testicular cancer, mental health, and stroke are some of the leading causes. And mental health awareness is a growing focus in men's health. Like we said, it didn't start out there, but because men are becoming less likely to seek help for depression and anxiety, yet they face higher rates of suicide compared to women, like we mentioned before. And then lastly, like I said, what we just celebrate this month for and try to encourage men to do is schedule their annual physical exams, adopt healthier lifestyles, exercising and nutrition, learn about their family history, and be able to talk openly about mental health and seek support, provide support to their peers. Organizations like the Men's Health Network coordinate events, screenings, educational campaigns, and outreach programs during June to promote men's wellness. So that's just a little bit of why we are here today and talking about the importance of men's health. All right. Before we get started, Marlon, can you hear us and everything? Or okay, cool, cool, cool,
Can
cool.
you unmute yourself so we can try to hear you just to make sure?
Yeah.
Hello?
Hi.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay,
we
good.
can hear you now. All right. Awesome.
Okay, so just a little bit of housekeeping. Cam's going to ask these questions to you guys. As you ask the questions, I'm going to go ahead and paste them in the chat in case anybody joins and they want to answer the questions as well. And if there are any other questions outside of what we're asking, please feel free to post them in the chat.
Yeah, and bring it up. So the first thing, and it's whatever order you guys want to go in, is can you guys just tell us a little bit about yourselves? So your name, your age, and really what your connection with mental health or men's health is in general. And there is like a raise a hand mechanism if y'all want to use that. That's
we
up to
can
y'all.
just go from left to right. So Eric, Chris,
Yeah.
on my screen, you're farthest to the left.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Eric Christ. I'm 36-year-old husband, father of 3 boys, and I'm from North Carolina. So my connection to mental health for me is more personal and lived experience. So I'm someone who lives as neurodivergent, ADHD, and depression for a long time. I didn't have the language for what I was feeling or what I was experiencing through life. I just knew I was off, and I knew that the way that I learn and the way that I show up didn't fit in a neurotypical box, right? And so I was carrying a lot silently. So I've been in therapy. I'm new to medication, and basically just trying to show up for everybody else while I felt like I was falling apart. So I'm not here as an expert, but someone in the process who's learning to love myself without conditions and break the cycles of mental health that raised me.
Snaps for Eric.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, Evans, you're next on the screen.
Hey everybody. As Leah said, name is Evans Jermaine. Originally from Boston, the city of champions. Born and raised. I am a father of 4. I'm balding. Oh, there you go. You know something about stress. I've been in Charlotte for about almost 9 years now. Still navigating through life as my children are growing. I'm growing as well, and each stage of their life is like a new stage for me as well. So proud father, entrepreneur. Business is my business. I run a couple of businesses. I sit on a couple of boards, which I'm very passionate about. That's not only my way of giving back, but giving back actually pours into me as well. Community man of the people, and yeah, just love to build and grow.
Awesome. Marlon, you're next on the screen.
Hey, what's going on? My name is Marlon. Some call me Coach Marlon. I am a certified personal trainer and nutrition coach. A father and a husband. I got 3 little girls and a wife. So I ain't balding yet, man. But I did have a bald spot, like a stress spot last month, and I ordered like $1,000 worth of oils and things like that to massage into my scalp. It was like I just turned 36, so it was like, dang, I ain't trying to go there yet. So I'll try to make it come back. It did though, so I'm good for right now. So yeah, being in a household with a wife and 3 young ladies has, man, it's kind of took my standard version of what mental health is and my attachment to it. Just being a nutrition coach and understanding everything starts with the mind, then it goes to like emotional health, then physical, and then your surroundings and your well-being in social ways and everything like that. So just tying together all the different parts of health, but just understanding like the emotional standpoint from my girls and how different I am from them and how different I operate from them, and then how to coincide with them in a household and make it a homeostasis that I can be comfortable in as well. So that's kind of like where I'm at with it right now.
Awesome.
Great. Well, thank you guys for sharing a little bit about yourselves so we can get to know you. So we're just going to dive right in, and if we want to, we can just keep the same order as far as answering, or y'all just chime in, when you feel ready to. But first question I have is, what does being healthy mean to you as a man, and has that definition changed as you've gotten older?
Yeah, man. It's changed. It's changed a lot. So for me, I used to think being healthy meant like just being on point all the time, providing, pushing through, not showing any weaknesses. Like if I showed up and I was still standing, then I must be good, you know. But now for me, it looks like emotional honesty. If I'm being able to say, "Hey, I'm not okay," without feeling like the shame that was built around saying that as a man, and specifically um, at the intersectionality being a black man, it was difficult, right? So now it's just choosing to rest without feeling the guilt, choosing softness, even when I was raised through and on toughness and the principles of toughness and what that looked like from the previous generation, right? As as I've gotten older, especially as a dad, I've realized that my kids, they don't need to see me as perfect. They don't need me to try to show up and be a perfect man, but they need me to be present. You know what I mean? They need a version of me that doesn't just survives, but feels and lets them know that as young men, it's okay to feel. So now health for me looks like regulation, like making space for joy, grieving things that I never named growing up, asking for help without feeling like I failed. Being healthy today for me just means being human, and that's something I ran from for a long time, trying to be what I was told a man was.
That's good.
Being healthy for me is really a journey. I think that each stage, especially again, going back to being a parent, um, things become more priority. Like I grew up, same as you, Eric, Chris, that I was raised not to cry. I was raised not to show emotions. I was raised not to talk about feelings. I was raised to just be tough. That was the depiction or the definition of what a man was. But as you grow, and especially like having a daughter, introduced me to emotions. Having holding somebody in your hands that, because my firstborn is a boy, so that's what I was trying to teach him is you got to be tough. But my daughter taught me no, it's okay to cry, and I can't tell you to toughen up because that's not your role. So she really taught me the true definition of emotions. Then as you just grow and you learn life, you seek out information to kind of take you away from the mold. Because I knew that the way I was growing up wasn't healthy. I knew that the way I was growing up wasn't the actual depiction of manhood. Um, so just learning emotions, learning that what a total man is it's not what was taught to me. So just learning to identify certain things within myself, learning to it, to know that it's okay to cry, learning that if I'm not feeling well within myself and my mental and my body, it's okay to get checked out. It's okay to talk to somebody and seek out information. And as you grow as a person, as a man, you're privy to different information and surrounding yourself with people that could check you on certain things. Um, some of my best supports are some of my closest guys. Some of my best therapy sessions are with my closest guys, where we're able to have real candid conversations about whether it's our physical state or our mental state. So it's every part of the journey is like a checkpoint for me as far as like being healthy, being able to identify certain things within self. And again, like it's as my children grow, I'm learning things about myself every single day. I'm learning patience. I only have one daughter. I don't have three. That three's a lot. Three's excessive. um, so like as they're growing, I'm learning so much about myself. Being able to just be transparent with myself first, then being able to express to my boys, hey, I got a 20-year-old now, and having certain conversations with him, and me trying not to feel like a hypocrite because at 20 I was wild, but at 39 I'm able to have certain conversations with him saying, hey, listen, you got to get your stuff together. um, but yeah, just being able to be transparent with self first. That's probably like the most important thing for me when it comes to health and being healthy. Transparency.
That's good.
Man, I can relate to everything that was said by Ericus and Evans. I think as a child, you get boxed in and you get as a male child. You get boxed in, and I would describe it as almost like being inside of four walls. You know what I'm saying? And it's like you fall. You like, well, you better not cry, boy. You better not, you know what I'm saying? Or I remember, I was younger, way younger, and somebody took my bike, and my uncle, he's a mortician, so he's kind of disconnected from emotions. But I came around the corner, kind of screaming a little bit, a little upset and everything like that. He said, "You better go get that bike back." he didn't even, he didn't even, he didn't even really flinch. He was like, "Hey, I don't know where you came from. You better go get that bike back." And my dad was kind of like the same way, very militant, very 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 driven by more practicality and logic. You know what I'm saying? And one of the things I can say my dad gave me is exercise. Like I was very advanced mentally, so I had a lot of I'm quick, I'm witty. I was ahead of my class. My teachers would maybe lay my head on the desk after I get done with work, and I'd be there for like 30 minutes. And then I'd tell my mom I had ADD. You know what I'm saying? But not just being engaged, it caused me to think of other things. So I got in trouble a little bit, in the classroom setting. And one of the things he gave me was exercise. He used to wake me up in the morning. We go through a little exercise regimen, and that helped me like regulate my emotions and things like that. And so having total health, in my opinion, is being able to create like I said before, like a homeostasis of growth and change, because life is ever changing. You're always growing. You're going through change. Now, that's not going to be painless. You're going to have like some discomfort, because even when you're going through growth spurts, like you have pain and discomfort in your knees, your arm, everything's kind of hurting and stuff like that. But it's just kind of like being able to embrace who you are at the time, and then being able to transition to who you're becoming, and always shooting to become a better version of yourself.
Awesome, thank you. It's definitely a great way to explain it. And I'll say so for this next question, even you kind of touched on this, but that whole men are often taught to tough it out thing. I want to ask how have you guys personally navigated that your emotional or mental health challenges, and what's helped you challenge that message, kind of like how Even said, having a daughter is kind of what made him challenge that message. So what is it, for you guys that helped you get out of that?
So he was spot on, and being a boy dad, they definitely not pulling that out of me. They didn't. It was the women around me that have picked up the pieces where a lot of the men who were drowning in that toughness dropped the ball in our family. So my my mom, my sisters, my aunts, my cousins, uh, they definitely helped with that process and provided this area of safety for me to be able to go to them and just ask them about mental health when I was ignorant about it, right? I wore the toughness like a armor. I thought that I had to be strong for everyone else died. If somebody died, I bowled my chest up and I was like, it's everything straight, and the language kind of changed to dismissive. Um, but quietly, I would be breaking on the inside. So what I've come to realize is that toughness without truth and without the transparency that Evan was talking about, it's just trauma wearing a fitted cap, right? I I didn't start healing until I hit a wall emotionally, spiritually, mentally, physically. My body started to change into unrecognizable form. And I couldn't just hustle my way through that. I've had to feel it. I've had to face it, learn it, and apply the things that I'm learning. Um, and one of those biggest pieces for me has been therapy, but reframing it, right? So I learned therapy as like you go to therapy when something's broken in you, when something's wrong with you, but I had to reframe it. I'm a competitor. I played ball. And so when I started viewing therapy through that lens, right? For me, my goal and always goal, I wanted to be this family man. I wanted to be a husband. I wanted to reach that. But marriage to me was kind of like the league. So I had this epiphany. It was like, man, if I'm just running the therapy when something is broken, I'm never gonna make it to the pro level. I'm never gonna make it to the league that I want to. These guys and ladies that get to this elite level of competition, they start training in high school and they go to prepare. So it's not just they don't get drafted and on potential. They get drafted on the preparation. And so if I knew like, okay, I want to be a husband. I want to be the best father I can be. I want to be the best brother, cousin, son, nephew. I have to train for that, right? And so that means I can't just show up because people expect me to win. I got to be consistent. I got to get in therapy to develop my skill bag. I look at it like if I'm on the field or on the court and I get put in a situation, how can I handle it if I don't have the skills to do that? And so for me, it was just like reframing therapy from being a place you go when you're broke to a training ground to be who you're called to be. And that's where it changed for me. It's not fixing myself, but expanding myself. Does that make sense?
Yep.
For sure.
Yep.
I say for me, really just aligning myself with the right people. That changes like the conversations that you have. And that those conversations kind of change your perspective and your view on life. And also how you see yourself. So that's kind of what helped me like realize a lot of things within self, but also I'm competitive as well. That kind of forced me to put myself in a challenging position where I'm always seeking to be better in every aspect of my life. So yeah, just really just surrounding myself with the right people helped me change the trajectory of who I am as a man. And always trying to pull up and spark and initiate conversations within other men as well. That whether it's somebody I look up to or somebody that needs to be pulled up, because even somebody that needs to be pulled up can help challenge you in certain conversations and aspects of yourself as well. Yeah.
That's really good.
That's good.
I think they say you are who your friends are, right? Or something like that. Yep.
If you show me your five closest friends, I'll tell you exactly who you are.
Yep.
Yes. Yes.
I
That's
love
good.
that. That's
Marlon?
awesome.
I think my version of challenging it looks like as a leader embracing it. So embracing the things that were taught to me about being a man, embracing the things because there is a certain place for logic, practicality. There's a certain place for toughing it out. There's a certain place for, being that aggressive hunter and gatherer. There's a certain place for that, right? But it's also creating a balance to where you're not so far left field into that space that you can like embrace the other parts of you as well. So as a man, you got testosterone and estrogen. As a female, you got estrogen and testosterone. You know what I'm saying? You're based in one, but you still embody the other. So just trying to create a balance between the two. That has happened with developing relationships. Sometimes you might think that you're doing so great, and then somebody slap you in the face and say, "Hey, man, you need to tighten it up right here." You know what I'm saying? Just kind of make sure that you being on point. So, like you said, the people that you surround yourself in or with. Also, just working with other people, working to try to develop other people has been like eye opening because going into a profession where initially being young, I thought it was all about aesthetics. I thought it was all about, how you look and how you feel. But the thing is, you're not going to show up to every workout feeling great. So what are the mental, emotional, and practical components that we can put together or environmental? Sometimes you got to change up what we're doing and how we're doing it to make sure that you get that little bit of motivation that you can grasp onto to make you go through that next set, and then to allow you to see transformation where there was some where you were stagnant in certain areas. So there's like a lot to my relationships that I develop with other people in that way, and my love for growth and one trying to figure out how to just keep progressing and stay motivated, that have allowed me to challenge that side of things, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I can
it does.
imagine you get a front row window into a lot of people's mental health as a personal trainer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely, but not necessarily from a judgmental standpoint. I feel like
No.
I feel like I grow a lot from like from relating to where people are in certain stages of life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And even I have some eye-opening experiences. I get to see where my future might be headed if I, don't do X, Y, Z, or if I do X, Y, Z. It just I get to see a lot. So yeah, I can definitely connect.
Yep.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I love your point too about, there is times for, certain things that may be needed for a situation. I think that was a great explanation, but thank you guys for sharing that. So on that note though, we talked about what's helped you challenge that message. What experience or moment in your life can you say has prompted you to reflect on your physical or mental well-being? If you could name just at one point in your life where you really had to sit yourself down and have a conversation with yourself about something.
For me, I don't think it was just like one moment. It was the moment, and I've been kind of healing through that moment for the last decade, and still learning from that moment. And it wasn't just like a thought, or possibility, but like real plan and action to commit suicide, right? And I wasn't crying out for attention. I wasn't talking to anybody, but I was trying to escape from weight, from shame, from the places that I dropped the ball, feeling like no matter what I gave, it was never going to be enough, right? And so I remember that day. I remember the process of going through my actions. Do I leave quietly? Do I fight for something I've never experienced, which is peace? And somehow, by God's grace, He chose for me to stay. And it wasn't because I felt strong enough. It was because that still voice that whispered in my ear that this pain isn't the end of your story, right? And after that, everything started to change for me. This personal growth journey that I'm still on. I just can't unsee the fragility of life. Um, but I knew that I couldn't go back to pretending like I was just okay to be palatable. Um, so I started to get serious, as I said earlier, about therapy, about figuring out what that process looks like, about healing. Um, in my family, we have like running jokes around ADHD, ADD, and something used to feel. I've always kind of rejected that title because it carried some trauma for me. It felt like when you're neurodivergent in a neurotypical world, if you have that um, title or that label placed on you, then you're a failure or something's wrong with you. And so I kind of rejected it for a while until I was smacked with it face to face. And my son almost medically lost his life. And he had to, through his healing process, he had to get neurological evaluations. And they said, boom, you have ADHD. And I'm like, oh, how do you get that? And then realizing, well, 91% of it is genetic. And then the other 9% is like from traumatic brain injuries or accidents and I was like, so there's no way to just develop that. And then I had to realize like, oh my gosh, well, my wife doesn't have it. I guess I have it. Uh, mm, I this is probably I need to probably learn about this because this is maybe why I'm failing in these areas. This is why I failed in college or this. And if I'm going to parent these boys, knowing that I'm passing this through my body to them, yeah, I got to figure it out. So I'm still here, still healing, still choosing life, um, and not because it's perfect, but just because I know that I'm worth the work. So that was the moment for me.
Thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah, thank you for sharing.
Absolutely. You know, it's crazy. I didn't realize or find out or discover I had ADHD till this year. I've always known that I learn different. I've always known that my brain works fast and is always in a million places at once. Always. I and I always just chopped it up to, yeah, I'm just different. I'm just different. But I never knew or took the time to like really think about what ADHD is. And it's a superpower. It really is. I see it as a superpower. In running a business, I wear every hat. And sometimes and Leah sometimes question how do I do what I do. But it's really a superpower. So I commend you, brother, for being able to not only identify that, but to be proactive in dealing with it. Because as I'm looking at my kids, they all have it. they all have it. But the conversation is how can we use that and direct it into a way where it works for your benefit. Because school wasn't my thing. And I think one of the best decisions that I made was to pull my kids out of school and to homeschool them so they could start learning at their pace. So they could learn the way that, education should be tailored to them and not just throw them in a classroom in a box and be forced to learn how everybody else is learning. I wish I had that opportunity to learn how. My fault. I'm going off on a tangent.
No, keep
so
going. Oh, my fault.
yeah, so I think that
I love this. No, keep
and
going.
especially with my two younger boys, I'm seeing how my two older, so I have 20, 18, 14, and 12. My oldest pair, they were my experiments where I was learning certain things. One's a boy, one's a girl. I'm learning certain things about parenting with them. Whereas I've made my mistakes with them. So my two younger boys, I'm able to say, okay, cool. I learned this and this. So this is what I'm going to tailor to you guys. So y'all don't like school, y'all get in trouble. All right, cool. We're going to pull you out because they're super, super smart, super athletic. So we're going to tailor a program for you guys. You guys don't like school. All right, cool. We're going to homeschool you guys. And whatever it is that you guys are into, that's how we're going to teach you. And it's been working out phenomenal. And for me, I'm reflecting back on every time I got in trouble in school, it's because I was bored.
Mhm.
Every time I got in trouble in school, I'm doing my work. Now let's start some trouble. Let's see whose nerves I'm going to get on, whether it's the student or the teacher. And I think as far as, again, it's a journey. Like we've haven't mastered being a man. We've haven't mastered being a parent. We've haven't mastered being a husband, or even being a son. We haven't mastered it. I love my mom, and every day I'm learning different things about her, which has shaped me to be who I am today. And it's a journey that, again, like me being 39 years old, when I was 29, I'm a completely different person. Even when I was 38, 37, 36, 35, completely different person. So I'm appreciating the journey with everybody that's in my life that I'm connected to, and I try to extract and grow from all those relationships. So to go back to the question, when I was 26 years old, that's when it snapped for me. That was my moment. I was tired. I was tired of being tired. I was tired of. I lost a lot of close friends. I lost family members to streets. When my brother passed away, he was murdered. That was kind of like my wake up call. Like these streets ain't for. We're allergic to lead. We're allergic to bullets. If it touches you, yeah, it's gonna change your life forever, and it's gonna change everybody else's life around you. So that was kind of like my outcry, especially in having children. I knew that I had to be around for them for the duration of their lives, as at least as long as I could. So that kind of caused me to surround myself with older men that were where I wanted to be. And we kind of formed like a support group where we could just have candid conversations. Like, who are you? Like, what's besides your name and besides your role and the lives of the people that's in your life? Like, who are you? Like, what are your issues? What are your triggers? How'd you grow up? Why are you the way you are? Why do you think the way you think? And that kind of like really propelled me, and it was like a wake up call for me. And from that moment on, where I formed that kind of support group, um, I literally became a new man, literally became a different person. And not only were they sowing seeds into me, but we were also, as younger men, were sowing seeds into them as well, because they were crying out for relationships that they never had, especially coming from a single parent household, not having a father to raise them. So that kind of like, it was a give and take relationship where the older men were pouring into us, and we, as the younger men, were pouring into them as well.
Thank you for sharing with us. Marlon?
I think that one thing that causes me to reflect, you know, over and over and over again is like I pride myself on being able to manage. You know what I'm saying? And I really don't feel like there's much that can come into my existence, whether it be paying bills or all your natural responsibilities, whether it be, you know, different ambitions that I have that I'm trying to accomplish. I don't think it's anything within in touch that I can't really manifest or do. So when I can't manage or when I'm not accomplishing, and when I say manage, I mean like when I can't manage my emotions, if I'm going through a slump where I'm always mad, if I can't manage drinking habits, you know, I like to get social, but I could be a little outrageous, as most of you probably have, you know, encountered, as far as like me just throwing them back and drinking for sport. You know what I'm saying? When I can't manage like you know, I don't know, different vices. I don't anymore, but I used to smoke weed. You know, it would get to a place where I was always the control one, and then when I would start binge smoking, that was a sign. Okay, you need to step back and like see yourself. Like, so when there's something that's happening in real time, and it shows me, hey, you're not really controlling yourself right now. You're not really managing yourself in this way. And when I feel like there's something that it's like, I would say a long time ago, I used to smoke Black and Miles, and it came to a place where every time I drive past a gas station, I would make an excuse just to stop and cut me a black. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I'm about to go in here and get like a pack of crackers. Oh, Black and Mild. You know what I'm saying? Like, eat crackers, bro. Like, what are you here for? You know what I'm saying? So when you're standing in that space, in that line, and you're about to purchase those Black and Milds, and you're like, man, and then it gets to a space where, man, mentally, it's like, do I even want this? You know, is this even what I'm really looking for? Or, you know, is this really what I want? It's like, okay, well, I need to step back and first of all, put this to the side, you know what I'm saying? And then figure out what's really going on. That's like the part that really challenges me every time, because um I feel like, you know, I don't want anything in my reach to be totally in control of me. You know what I'm saying? And so when I can't manage those things, or when I'm not managing those things, it might not be the first time I do it. It might not be the second time I do it, but at some point, I'm gonna be like, oh dang, this is I'm kind of slipping in this area, and then I need to come back too. So that's one of the things that makes me kind of like self-reflect a lot.
That's cool. We're running short on time, and I don't know if you guys can go a little long. I know we had some technical issues in the beginning, but we do have 2 more questions that we want to get through. So if you can stay, we hope you can. But go ahead, Cam.
Okay, yeah, that's
I'm
what I was
very
gonna say.
hopeful that they can stay
Yes.
because we have so many people saying, I love this. You guys
Yeah.
are doing so great.
Yeah,
I love it.
for sure. So yeah, with that being said, like Leah said, I'll just get right into the next question. So what are 2 tools or daily habits you use to support your overall mental health?
Um, so to go into Marlon's world a little bit, I've had the privilege to see the outer layer of his journey from a collegiate basketball player to owning his business in nutrition, and I've watched him transform his body as well as a couple other people around me and kind of talk to me about it. But I didn't really make a connection for gym and nutrition. So gym and nutrition is one, and then prayer is the second one. So for me now, going to the gym is not just about staying in shape anymore. For me, it's I'm deeply spiritual, so it's an act of worship for me, and it's therapy. It resets me mentally. The sweating, just the grinding in there, the music or the podcast in my ear, it helps me get out of my head and feeds my soul. Right, it's clearing up thoughts, brings me back to my center. And when I pair that with the nutritional aspect, eating real food like clean proteins, greens, cutting out the processed stuff,
Hmm.
oh, my mental health just in the last 4 to 5 months has done a complete 180. I feel way more in control of my energy, of my mood. And so I've learned that science backs this up. Literally 150 minutes of exercise a week, right? Like just 30 minutes a day. It reduces symptoms of depression and anxiety for like 60%, right? That's higher than the medication or therapy by itself. And I saw this thing, um, a study or a journal. It was from Harvard. They showed like people who work out regularly, they have like 43% fewer bad mental health days. And so that was huge for me because I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I couldn't see it. I didn't like going to the gym. Man, listen, the next day, 2 days after that day, you sore. I'm like, ooh, ah, that didn't feel good to me. But some people's like, yeah. I'm like, nah, I didn't get that feeling. But now now when I get that soreness in my body and I feel that, I'm like, oh yeah, man, I'm armoring up. My mind feels good. This is great. Um, so it went from trying to grab a six pack and some pecs and some calves to peace. And then on top of that, prayer. Just in the last year, I've started incorporating that, and that's been like the anchor. Um, and it's not something I used to just do it whenever I hit a wall, something that I, I I was reactive to, but now it's something that I build my whole day around, and I do it sometimes, a lot of times while I'm in the gym, and it helps me slow down my thoughts, connect to something bigger than myself. Remember that I'm not in control of everything, and that's okay. And then it's science behind that too. There was a same university, but it was a study that came out, and it was like people that pray daily, especially when they believe in a loving and protective God, they report fewer depressive symptoms and more emotional stability. It was something like people who pray daily have 74% less stress and 70% less anxiety, something like that. And so once I'm a logical person, like Marlon talked about earlier, and once I'm able to kind of tie the logical intellect into spiritual and nutrition and health, and then it's like, oh, okay, this is a no-brainer. Like, let me get it together. So those are my tools.
So I actually have 3 tools. One is
No,
accountability.
you only get 2. Just kidding. Go ahead.
So the third one's a bonus. So accountability, being able to. So there's 4 people I talk to every single day. My 4 brothers, every single day. There's not a day that go by. Because not only do we check in with each other, but if you say you're gonna do something, bruh, we gonna make sure that you do what you say you're gonna do. Um, the second thing is just building healthy habits, and being disciplined, about those habits, which is the third tool. So accountability, habits, building healthy habits. Like I do not leave the house without making my bed. That's the first habit that I have. And once you accomplish, I've learned early on, like once you accomplish that, um, that's the first task that you won. That's the first win of the day. Now you set the tone for the day. That whatever else that you have on your schedule, you accomplish one thing. All right, cool. So the second thing is going to be easy to do. And just being disciplined, staying disciplined to those habits. So those are my tools.
Awesome.
Bro,
But
that's good. That's
you have
good.
to have people that's going to check you and not let stuff pass. If you have somebody, if you're surrounded by people that's not willing to check you, they don't need to be in your corner.
That's good, even. Just to tell you about the making the bed part, bro. Honestly, I was never a person that was gonna wake up and make my bed, bro. Wake up, I'm gone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whenever I get back, I get back. But in the last year, I've started, bro. When I wake up, once my wife's out of bed, bro, bed gets made up, bro. I just feel like I accomplished something. I didn't
Yeah.
understand that before, but it starts the day off like that. Appreciate you bringing that up. That's good.
Sure.
So one thing for me, and a lot was touched on that I do practice. But just to touch on some different things, similar to making a bed, I create a checklist of all my goals, everything that I'm trying to accomplish throughout the day. And it's funny because I was on my computer the other night and I was just ping, 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 and my wife's woman radar came on. She's like, "What? What you got going on? What's going on over there?" And I was like, I'm just checking stuff off my checklist, and it's like ping, ping, ping. And so after about like 20 things, and I talk to people about doing this. It's like write down everything, man. Everything incrementally. Life is about incremental progression. So write down all the things that you do, because sometimes the things that you do that go under the radar aren't necessarily things that people are going to notice until they don't have them. You know what I'm saying? So when you write down, write down your goals, things that you do, and everything like that. And I just write down everything that I'm trying to get accomplished. You know what I'm saying? And then I check it off during the course of the day. And then when I look back, I can't really get into a negative space of saying that it was a waste or something like that, because number one, I'm sticking to the script. Number two, it's a lot more to life than just taking a straight line from point A to point Z. You know what I'm saying? You got to go through all the letters of the alphabet to get to that space.
Uh-oh.
I think he accidentally hung it up while he was talking.
Okay. We can. Do you want to ask the next question and then we'll come back to him when he gets back
when
on?
he hops back in, that's fine.
Okay.
Get Marlon back on here, man. He talking that talk, saying some good stuff.
Yeah.
That
He should
sounds
be
like
right back. So we might just wait a second.
Yeah, I just think he hung up by accident. Okay, so the next thing we wanted to ask is, what advice would you give to younger men and or to your younger self about taking care of their health?
Um, I would say to my younger self, or any younger man, that holding your feelings in has Marlon just popped up.
Yeah, I got him.
Okay. Holding your feelings in, it has a cost, and eventually someone's going to pay for it. They have to. And that someone is most likely going to be you. You're going to pay for it in your sleep. You're going to pay for it in your relationships. in your peace, um, in your, maybe even in your life. If you wait too long, that debt is gonna stack up, but it is accumulating debt. So I would tell my younger self that, just kind of repeating what I said earlier, that therapy isn't for the broken. It isn't just for fixing. It's for the ones who want to level up. Um, Most young men, we hide behind grind and behind hustle. We start out learning to chase status and to chase money, and there are some American cultural ideologies that kind of tell us our masculinity is, and our worth is to what we can provide and how much money we have and what our status are and what our likes are on social media. But the irony in that and the truth in that is that every day we are making billionaires even richer. Whether it's Apple, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Instagram, ESPN, we feed their platforms. And I would tell them the thing about that is every single one of those CEOs has a team, like Evans talked about. Number one, they have a therapist. They have a nutritionist. They have a personal trainer. They have a life coach. They have these tools that are aiding in the collective mental capacity and health that they are able to show up and deliver these results. And the thing about it is that the success that they're receiving are on any level, right? I gave the extreme level, but success isn't accidental. Success is strategic. And so I would tell my younger self and younger men, you want to be successful? Cool. Then train like it. Train your mind the way you train your body. Uh, Challenge your own habits the way that you challenge your reps in the gym or at practice. I would tell them that, peace isn't a luxury. It's a priority. And so if they wait until it's a crisis to care about their health mentally, physically, I forgot the ways Marlon kind of broke it out. But just holistically, if you wait until you're in a crisis, then you're risking what success is to you. You're risking your soul.
Yep. Okay, Marlon, we're gonna jump back to you so you can finish that. Then we just move on to the next question. So Marlon, you finish with your two strategies or skills.
Tools. Yeah.
Two tools. Oh, you're on mute.
Yeah.
You're muted, Marlon.
Sorry.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kind of just what I was saying as far as checking off your to-do list. It makes you feel better. It allows you to see that even though you didn't get the big goal accomplished, you still got a lot of things accomplished that's gonna lead to the progression to the big goal. And then the other thing that I've reintroduced to myself aside from prayer is meditation. And I think a lot of people did, process or I guess define meditation in a lot of different ways. For me, it's just getting to a quiet space, turning out all the lights, or if the lights are on, I'm outside connecting with nature, and I'm just envisioning and visualizing what I want right now, and not only what I want, but also the things that I'm thankful for, and just basically just like prayer, giving thanks for those things, and allowing myself to have a peace of mind to embrace the positive energy or the blessings that are coming to me. So it's like once you do that, you start to realize and reconnect with the fact that it's you might have went through this or you might have went through that, but it's not so bad. Like it could be worse. It could be better, but it could be worse. You know what I'm saying? And you can enjoy the small things a lot better when you're in those spaces, and then it gives you a better attitude to like progress throughout the day and feel better. Um, so
Okay. That's good. Okay, so Evans, now we're going to jump back up to the other question. What advice would you give to younger men or to your younger self about taking care of their health?
I just want to go back and echo to what Eric Chris said, that peace isn't a luxury, bro. That hits hard. That hits hard. Peace is not a luxury. It's not something that we often take like moments, like peaceful moments for granted. But to fully live out and be in the state of peace, that takes work. That takes a lot of work. But thank you for saying that. The advice I would give to my younger self: practice mental discipline.
Mm.
Practice mental discipline, because a lot of the issues that we have comes from the people that we surround ourselves with, things that we intake, whether it's music, and now with social media, having access to the world. Social media is great in a lot of ways, but in more ways than not, it's poison. A lot of the music that we listen to, it's poison. Foods we eat, poison. People that we have in our lives, poison. Conversations we entertain with people, poison. So just being more intentional, and putting your mind in a place where that you're being intentional on growing as a person and not introducing poison to self.
Good. Okay, Marlon. And you guys, I miscounted. We have one more question and it's going to be quick after this. Okay, go Marlon.
Okay, so I got three actually. So one is show what you know. I think being a man and being a young black man, sometimes you're taught to cower a little bit in terms of like knowledge and the knowledge that you acquire and it's almost kind of taught to not necessarily be confident or proud of like being in that space. So I would allow myself to be confident in the things that I've worked hard to learn, and the thing, and that I feel like that would allow me to be in more spaces, allow more doors to be open for opportunities to be had. Um, One of the things, another thing would be the marathon continues, and it's a marathon and not a sprint. And a lot of times that we're taught, especially in our community, that you know everything in this society right now, it's a microwave society, so everything has to happen right now, right? But it's a marathon, and the the patience that you have to continue, different people got different tools. I mean, some people, they don't seek success. A lot of the people that we've seen on TV, Oprah didn't have success till 40. Some of the other ones, they went through bankruptcy, different things like that. And this is just monetary success. It's not health success, but I'm just saying success in general, whether it be relationships, whether it be overcoming social anxiety, whether it be mental health, it's all a marathon. It all takes work. You have to show up every day, and you have to put your best foot forward every time for you to allow yourself the opportunity to get it right. So it's a marathon, and I think that's very important, because people start to feel like they failed because they didn't get to a certain spot in a certain time, and that's not how it works. You know what I'm saying? Um, and then I think that the last thing, I kind of got lost in my point here. That's it. I just go with those two.
Okay, Cam. Now this one's a really important one. I just want us to do this one quickly. Go ahead, Cam.
All right, y'all. So the last question we have today, and like she said, I think this is the most important one besides the last one really too, is what's one way we can better reach other men and start these real conversations about health, mental health, those type of things?
Um,
Tell us
that
the
is
secrets, men.
that is important. How you want me to just give it to you raw?
Yeah,
Yeah,
tell us,
okay.
because we're trying to reach the men. So how do we reach the men?
Stop trying to fix us like we're broken. Um, Start talking to us like we matter, right? You can't reach someone if they feel like a project, and most men I know don't need another motivational speech, or they don't need a checklist of what they need to fix. What we are starving for is a space where we could tell the truth without losing our dignity, um, where we can tell the truth without the pressure of um, is acceptance, right? And so I think just start with presence and not pressure. Some of the most powerful mental health conversations that I've ever had um, were not in a therapist's office. They happen on porches, in parked cars, phone calls with family, over a game of 2K, Madden, riding home from a funeral. Vulnerability is contagious, but somebody has got to lead the charge. Somebody's got to go first, right? And if I open up, it gives the next man permission to do the same, right? That's how we reach men. We just be real first. And I would say mm, even deeper than that, we've got to stop raising boys like they are just quieter girls. We're wired differently, biologically, neurologically, emotionally. All of the ways we're different, and that's okay. You know, masculinity is not just social performance. It's not just cultural design, it's scientific design. So as boys, we need room, to Event's point, to move, to mess up, to get out aggression and competitiveness, and spaces to learn. We learn differently, scientifically, just to feel without having all the right words. We don't always process our pain in these eloquent paragraphs. So I would say that, and then stop demonizing what brings men peace. For a lot of us, me specifically, I play video games, but I also know a lot of men. And growing up, I was also like, my dad was like, you need to put them games down. You need to get out here and do X, Y, Z. But playing video games is not immaturity. Somebody's making money off creating these games.
Mhm.
For me, I found out it's safety. It's not just about the game. It's about being in a world where I'm not even judged. I can just show up and just compete for an hour or two, and it's control. It's a way to decompress, breathe, compete, and feel capable. My wife, she likes coloring in coloring books. So that's how she wants to spend time, then color in a color book to unwind beside me. Let me play the game, because that's what speaks to me. You know what I'm saying? Just don't expect me to fit in spaces that I'm not supposed to. Don't expect me to color too. That's not my world. You know what I'm saying? So if we want emotionally healthy men, we just got to stop shaming us emotionally, and shaming the expressive boys. Celebrate our masculinity. Learn how we're built, not just how the world wishes that we were. Don't start conversations with what's wrong with you. Start with what happened to you. You'll just get a much more honest conversation that way. And I apologize for being long-winded, but we aren't unreachable. We just aren't being reached in the right way.
I like that.
Nah, that's
Not
good, bro.
what's wrong with you, what happened to you.
Yeah,
That's
nah,
a
that's
Yeah.
good
good, bro.
question.
Yeah, and I will say, in the chat, if you guys want to touch on it, we do have a little bit of just kind of asking how, would you say that we can have conversations, or how, would you like us to approach the opportunities to extend solutions without coming off as a control or trying to fix you? Which, Erica's, I think you kind of answered that by, ask me what happened to me, not what's wrong with me. But yeah, so if y'all can elaborate on
Actually
that.
I think we should actually have like a whole nother webinar on that.
Yeah, we probably do
Yeah.
need a whole nother webinar, but they are curious.
Yeah.
Long story short, we don't want solutions. We're solution based. We'll figure out solutions. We don't want solutions. We just want you to listen.
Mm.
That's it, from my
Yes.
perspective. But
Yeah.
Yvonne and Marlon, y'all answer the question too, because I'm sure y'all got a perspective too.
Well, first off, thank y'all for having this platform for us to be able
Yes.
to, talk and share. I think this is definitely an important medium to reach men. And to Eric Chris's point, or to echo your point, you just gotta ask us how we're doing. Father's Day rolls around, and the only place that has a sale is Home Depot and Lowe's. We ain't, those are the only places that has a sale. No restaurants have, no restaurants are packed. In fact, it's just a regular day. I'm just asking men how are they doing, checking in. And oftentimes men go through so much, just that question alone could create such impact, whether it's for the day or could cause them to start thinking about things. But yeah, just checking in. Because again, we are often looked at to be always tough, um, always having the family, the world, work on our shoulders, and very seldomly are we asked, "How are you doing?" So
That's good.
And
But I
when
will
we
say, when we ask, how are you doing? It's a typical response in the United States and a lot of the world. How are you doing? I'm fine. Have a good day.
so
I'm
if
fine.
if you if
so
I'm
so
good.
that's like asking somebody if you're hungry and they say, I don't know, or I'm good, right?
Yeah,
You want more details.
right.
If you say yes, I'm hungry. Okay, well, did you eat today? Uh, is so the more you ask is the more
Yeah,
that you can get. So like
follow-up
if
question.
somebody say, "Oh, I'm good," well, why are you good? So like what I always do for my kids is I ask them, how was your day? Oh, it was good. What was good about it?
Mhm.
Then you start asking more questions because that shows that you care. But if you
Yeah,
just take good from somebody, that 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 doesn't show that you care because
right.
it's not a real answer.
Good. Good.
I think you gotta to piggyback off of events, you gotta realize the world that we actually live in. Like even this conversation that we're having with you right now, this is not our world. This is not reality for us. This is a moment that feels great to us to have
Mm-hmm.
voice. The world that we live in, how are you doing? If you say how you doing today, man, I'm under the weather. I'm struggling mentally today. Somebody goes, "Oh, most people freeze up. They don't know what to do with that with a man." And then it becomes about catering to this person's emotions or thoughts or feelings because they don't know how to process that truth.
Mm-hmm.
So we learn to mask. We learn to keep it at, I'm cool, I'm good. Are you really okay with me saying that I'm bothered by something that you may or may not be a part of? You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
saying?
right.
So, so yeah, it's just go deeper, probe, and I think that's good events. That's great. That's great.
My fault, Marlon. Just one more thing. Um, ask ask what the highlight of the day was.
Good.
Like if your day was good, okay, what was the best part of your day? Again, to your point, Eric Chris, like probe. You got to probe. If you truly care about somebody that's in your life, you're not just gonna take a simple answer from them. Like you want to know if you had a good day. Okay, cool. What was the best day? What was the best part about your day? Or if you're having a tough day, what made your day tough? So I think probing like shows that you care.
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, and I think and this may be from like just coaching. Reaching people where they are depends on who you are. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So um everybody's gonna have a different set of like things that they like, don't like in terms of communication. A lot of times I feel like people compartmentalize communication to just talking, like how you talk, how you speak, whatever. But communication comes in a lot of forms in terms of I got like I said, I got 4 females surrounding me right now. More I've been around females all my life, but more so now in close quarters is different when you're actually living day to day. You know what I'm saying? So I try to pick up on tendencies. Like, okay, you might, let's just say, my oldest daughter, you know, she gets a little upset when things aren't in place. You know what I'm saying? So what I try to help her realize is we created a reward board where, you know, you gotta check the things off that you do after you come home from school, after you go and, when you're going to school. Like, what are you doing at nighttime? Pick out your clothes. Because in the morning when you're mad because your shoes aren't in place, but you didn't take the time to put them in place last night, it's not gonna help. You know what I'm saying? So that's a form of communication as well, is like paying attention to the people, paying attention to the man in question, and understanding like his tendencies, the things that he likes, the things that he doesn't like, and not necessarily. I mean, sometimes you're going to antagonize. I'm antagonistic. I might check you a little bit. I might take the shoes and hide them and see where your head at. You know what I'm saying? Like I might, just to be a little messy, see where you at. But if I know that this is gonna stress you out, if I know that this is something that's gonna take you to a place, then that's something that I'm gonna help you to get better at if that's not an area that you're good at. The other thing is just listening for comprehension. So like hearing somebody and then speaking to your narrative is one thing, but when you're hearing somebody and you're actually opening your narrative to to the to basically their level of comprehension or where they are, that's a whole different thing, because somebody can say something, and they can speak to a certain point, or somebody can speak to a collective thought. When you're trying to communicate and you're trying to hear somebody, don't be I wouldn't be so judgmental to the practicality behind, you said this, but what are you trying to say? You know what I'm saying? What is it that you're trying to convey in terms of the bigger picture? Obviously, you got to say what you mean, but at the same time, you got to understand like all the things that create rhetoric in conversation and what it actually means for that person, because everybody means something different, even when they're speaking directly. So I think that those things are important.
Okay.
It's not for you to interpret, but it is for you to investigate. That's all I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
good. That's good.
Yeah, that's an awesome point. And I like the whole thing too about communication, not being so black and white of just being words, like you said, people's habits, body language. So not only understanding as far as like, you trying to interpret their communication, but understanding that your communication, regardless of the words coming out of your mouth, is actually what you're trying to portray, right? So I think that was a great point. Well, it is about to be 1 o'clock. Well, it is 1 o'clock now. So I just want to say, thank you so, so much for you guys, for doing this. It was amazing. And like Leah said, we definitely, even outside of Men's Health Month, want to be able to have these conversations more regularly, do panels like this and things like that. So you guys will definitely, be on our list of people we'd love to continue to just have great conversations with, just sit down and really, speak around each other. And that's what I have to say. I believe Corey has her hand up. So, Corey.
I absolutely, positively loved this conversation, and I'm so excited that you all came on and spoke candidly. Um,
Yeah.
People are saying to me, "When are we going to do this again?" I love this.
Yeah.
I've gotten so many comments, not necessarily in the chat because I've been like inviting people and invite people, but when are we going to do this again? This is so good, and the conversation was so rich. Um, I love where you all went, and I just know I can feel it in my bones that there was just this is just the tip of the iceberg. Um, there was so many points, and I'm just gosh, I feel like I learned so much, and I'm
Yeah.
excited. So many people were like asking questions like, you know, yes, well, how do we get them to listen to hear us and not listen to comments? And how do we create a safe space for to so they feel comfortable talking? Um I feel like I'm triggering when I ask a question, when I probe. How do I know how to read the room? Because they are so used to saying I'm fine. They are so programmed. So you all you all created a lot of questions, and a lot of people are asking, when will they be back? Will you still have them on? Can we do this again? What about women and men on the? I've had so many questions. So I don't want to overload, but I do want to say there were a lot of questions coming in, and a lot of people really, really enjoyed the conversation. So um, from the bottom of our heart, thank you. Men's health is so important. And, I'm the baby of 8, and I had 5 brothers. And, you know, men have such a big part of life, just protection and, shielding and leading and guiding. And, I can't even begin to say how important the men in my life have been. Um, so I'm just elated that you all took the time to be with us today at North Carolina Families United. And I know that we will have to come back, and y'all just have to tell me you coming back, because I'm thankful and I'm appreciative, and I think a lot of people want to hear it again and hear even more. So thank you all so much. Thank you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, and
Cam, and
I
wait 1 second. And I heard Cameron is doing such a great job. She is really blossomed, and this is really, we can really see where she's grown. And Leah, thank you so much for facilitating and everything. They don't let me talk because they know I get on here and I keep talking. But I'm so thankful and appreciative. So you all have done such a great job. That's all.
I just
Absolutely.
want to
Thank you
say
for the platform.
I just want to say
Yeah.
thank you guys for being vulnerable, because it's
Yes.
hard and it's
Very
scary.
hard.
And so you guys were vulnerable today with us and everybody watching, and I just really appreciate that, because it's hard to do, let alone with one person, but online, it live, all the things. So we appreciate that.
I
And
think women think that it's hard, but we as men, I think we look to be vulnerable. We just need the space to be
well, I
vulnerable.
want to be like
That's
you.
so
Being
You got
vulnerable
a
is
good.
scary.
space.
That's
Scary.
so
You
good.
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
have a space.
We crave the
Please.
vulnerability.
yeah.
Absolutely. We crave the moments to be vulnerable. We just unsure if the moment can handle our
So how
vulnerability at
often will
times.
we be doing this? That's what my question. How
That's
Right.
so
often will
good.
you be doing this?
Right.
Because you
Yeah,
have a
We'll
we'll
call
platform.
definitely.
you. We're gonna call you after that. We're gonna set something up. We're gonna figure this
You
Yeah,
out.
have
we'll
you have the
definitely put it in
platform.
there.
We love this.
We
And
do.
and the
Yeah.
women and men have spoken. So you have a platform. Trust me.
Yeah.
Thank
Events.
y'all.
I know you've had a podcast before. You could be the ringleader of this.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just saying. Okay. All right.
Yeah. Well,
Bro, I gotta
once
get.
again,
I want to connect with you offline, bro.
For sure.
Uh, yeah,
yeah.
I've seen you. I've seen you before in public,
Mm.
and you were doing something. I can't remember the event, but you had a suit on. Um, it was a black suit. I can't remember. It was somewhere in Charlotte, but you was doing something important. I
Was a
can't remember.
funeral.
Nah,
Uh-huh.
nah, it wasn't a funeral, man. It
The
was the
first
event,
day
man.
I met him was in a suit too. We were at the
Mm,
Gray holiday party.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I saw you before, but I'm gonna connect with you. I'm gonna get your info from
Even
Lee.
even if I could say one thing, you said something very profound, and you said that you get with men that challenge you,
Mhm.
and they ask you some important questions like, who are you and why are you that person? You know, as a woman that has been a single parent in my life, it is so it's so important, but it's so hard to push young men to get with older men,
Mhm.
more seasoned men that will question them and that will, hold them accountable. Because I can hold my son accountable to an extent, but
Mhm.
having another man to hold him accountable and be a good role model all the time, that's not wishy-washy, but
Yeah.
having a good role model that is there all the time and that will push him all the time and that will challenge him and give him a pat on his back when he needs it, but it's very different coming from a woman than it is coming from a man.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
I think that is so important. As women, when we push, sometimes it's not received well. And
Yeah.
so having a man to do that, I think is so important. So I really like that.
I'll be honest with you, like society has designed us to be broken in
Mm,
every aspect. Like
Yeah.
I'm an 80s baby, right? So I was
mhm,
born in the crack epidemic. Crack baby.
mhm,
80s babies are crack babies, especially like from
mhm,
the north. From the crack epidemic to the welfare system to the media, we even television. We don't have any examples
The
of
educational
strong
system.
black men, right? The education system, like
mhm,
The
you look at.
justice system.
I'm not necessarily a religious person, but you look at like our saviors. The depiction of our savior is white. You look at like the person that's going to bring you gifts and treats. Santa Claus is white. You look at the justice system. Like nothing has everything that's been designed in our society has been anti-black men,
mm,
anti-men. So like to navigate through life, to find somebody that actually cares, to have um to be able to relate to somebody is tough. It's tough.
mhm,
So like the generation before me didn't know how to have these conversations
mhm,
because they were in the thick of things. So like
mhm,
my generation, the things that we've gone through, the things that we're going through, it's tough. It's tough. So it takes work to find people that are where you want to be
yeah,
mentally.
yeah.
It takes work. And like I get chills every time I think about it. Like my I love being a dad. I
Yes.
love being a coach. And I love coaching them. So their friends call me Coach Dad or Coach Unk. And
Unk.
I
Yes.
take such pride in that because it's like in my younger years, I craved that. I
Mhm,
I I didn't have any positive influences. All the neighborhood that I grew up in, the role models were the dope dealers.
right.
Those were the role models because they had a blueprint that looked good. They had a
Mhm,
blueprint that if you treat if you act this way and treat people a certain way, like I made it. Look at the money I have. Look at the cars I drive. Look at the clothes I wear.
mhm.
Poison, poison. So to now to get to a place in life where I'm still learning. It's a journey, but to have people that I'm intentional in surrounding myself with to pour back into, I get chills.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I get chills because it's something I didn't have.
Can I have
Um,
a vulnerable moment too?
sure.
You know, I love having strong black men around me. I love that. I crave it. Um, Sometimes it's difficult as a woman that's been a single parent to know when we can let our guard down and when we can, sometimes it's like if you let your guard down and you allow someone to step in, before you know it, you having to pick that guard back up and carry on. And so it's difficult and it's hard. I know it's necessary, but it's hard. So we gonna have to continue some conversations.
Not for sure.
I
For sure.
think this kind of reminds me of something that I had a conversation with Eric Chris once on about relationships. And I was talking about how one person, like if one person has their foot one foot in and one foot out because they're not sure if the other person's going to be all in. And then the other person has one foot in and one foot out. Well, nobody's ever going to be all in because you're worried about if the other person's going to be all in. So you both have to dive both in. And it kind of reminds me of the conversation we're having right now with men and their vulnerability and mental health and just talking. It's like you guys crave to be vulnerable and you want to talk and you want that space. Well, on the reverse side, women are like, we want you to talk. We want to hear you talk. This is this. So it almost reminds me of the same thing. I don't necessarily know how to fix it, but it's like one foot's in, one foot's in, but we
Yeah.
both have to jump both feet in or it's never going to. So it's like, how do we get both feet in? That's kind
Yeah.
of
You've got
what
to
I'm
be able
seeing.
to, for me, because this is why I said, because I feel like sometimes people look at me and the decisions I make are like move on from conflict that I should probably like, you know, hurt somebody or whatever, right? Like should be more mad about a situation or like something. And to me, I'm always like, at the end of the day, I know that I put all of me in the situation and that wasn't enough. So regardless of what that person is doing, whether they're putting the 1 foot, 2 feet, all four limbs, I know what I did. And as hard as that is to comprehend and compartmentalize, like we talk about, and not think about, it's the only way that you can get away from that, like Leah said, because I'd rather go into a situation where I put all my all in and I still got burned, but I walk away knowing I did what I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I tried my best. They made that choice. But I
And
wouldn't,
not
their choice
everybody
wasn't going to
deserves it.
dictate mine, though.
Yeah, for
You know,
sure.
yeah.
And
That
to
was
your
good.
point, not everybody deserves us. Like,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
everybody deserves our vulnerability. Not everybody deserves, because we're like, if we share this, this is sacred. If we
Yeah.
share this, this is sacred. And not everybody deserves that.
Yep.
Yep.
It's also it's very very nuanced to piggy like what you're explaining. Different people have different emotional maturity levels, and
Mhm.
so you know, unfortunately, through just in the cycle of life, um, females mature faster than males biologically and scientifically, and so that shows up a lot of the time um, in our relationship. Um, and society and culture has fed. This is a conversation could go for a long time, but society has intentionally minim- we spoke culturally, so culturally minimized the black man, the black family. Um, so a lot of the immaturity and our men have learned. I don't know the specific percent. I forgot it, but so many. We're all '80s babies. Me, you, and Marlon. Marlon, you '80s baby. You '89. Yeah. So we all have seen this, right? You know, my dad was he was in that. He was facilitating that lifestyle. And he was removed from the home, which then led me to be raised by my mom, my sister, my aunts. Um, and so a lot of the tendencies and how I learned to process emotions, it came from a female perspective. It wasn't until I was 20, 30 years old to where I was like, wait a second, this is not how supposed to process. This doesn't feel good to me naturally or biologically. And so there's um, a broken system when it comes to men in general. And one of the things that I've started to do in this past year and a half is really start to unlearn that system. Because I consider myself a feminist. I consider myself a masculinist. I consider myself a human humanitarian. Part of that is we have a society that puts us at competing priorities versus just understanding one another. So we got to deconstruct some of this thought of what we know about men. One of the starting points that I would recommend for anybody on the call is um, Christina Hoff Summers. She's a feminist and she's a white lady, but she staked her career on understanding boys and different than girls, male versus female, and the science behind it in our country, and how we have this image that men are dominating spaces that we actually aren't. We're least on the totem pole when it comes to education. We're least on the totem pole when it comes to physical health, least on the totem pole when it comes to mental health, least on the totem pole when it comes to physical fitness in general, finances. There's a small percent that sit at the top, right? And it's a very nuanced conversation, but I would recommend anybody to get this book or audiobook called The War Against Boys and start to deconstruct what it is that you know about men and males and boys, starting at a young age from our systems up to better understand how to approach the conversations. I think it could answer some of the questions that you have. But you know, that's just my take. It's systemic versus just individual, Cam. And it's hard to hear, but kind of what you went through when you got burned, or it's not even just the man that did that. he's a product of
Mm-hmm.
a system that we have to deconstruct.
Yeah.
Not to make excuses. It's just
no.
it's just a
I
fact.
mean, it is what it is. Yeah.
No, I think that's awesome. And I'm glad you shared that. Because I went to
That
school,
is
for
good.
psychology, and that is one big lesson that we had for like a whole week is that, and like watching there's documentaries of, like you said, kind of just seeing how the natural processes of boys being raised, whether it's even by, their own father, but like you said, if you put them into Boy Scouts or like anything that's supposed to be productive, it's still very structured in a way that is not necessarily not one size fits all, basically. And that's really how they try to do it. And like you said, how completely different. And the same thing, like how y'all mentioned with school earlier, you sit boys and girls in the same classroom, you think you're gonna teach them the same thing, that they all come from different backgrounds. And like, like and take example for me, just being a young Native American girl, we're in class learning about Native Americans like they don't exist anymore or something. It's not history. This is real life. They're still here. They off in the cut because that's what happened. They got pushed out of their own, territories or things like that. But we're reading about them in books like it's history. So yeah. Thank you guys for sharing that. I am
That's
going to
good
just
points.
probably end the event itself. It will let you guys keep talking, but the other people. So once again, because I do gotta get off as well. I want to
Yeah,
say
thank
thank
you
you
guys.
so
Thank you so
much.
much for coming.
Yes. And
Yeah.
just please continue to look out for anything
Thank you
from
for
us.
having us.
And if you guys ever want to come to us and just say, hey, I want to talk about this, can we get together to talk about this? It doesn't have to be us reaching out to you either. So like you
And it
guys said, we
doesn't have to
definitely have
be
a
online
platform.
either. We can
Yeah.
have peer support groups, things that are not
Yeah.
online for the public. So
So any conversations, we definitely have the platform we're willing to share to do that. So
yes.
For sure. And
Thank
that goes
you.
for our listeners as well.
yes.
If you all know of a title or a topic that you would like to hear about, please reach out to Cameron or Leah, and that is something that we can discuss and see if it's
Yeah.
something that we can get on here. So we really appreciate it. We really love our involvement from the community. Our speakers today were absolutely awesome. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. So
Yes.
much.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
And we'll be
Thank y'all for
posting
having me.
this. Yeah, we'll be posting this online on our website and on our YouTube channel and social media, so you guys can go back and rewatch it. And if you guys have any questions, just reach out to us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. You guys have a great day.
All
Thank you
right.
so
Thank you.
much.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
All right.
All right. It should just